Okay, this is tutorial 4.2. So this is where we left off with our last tutorial where we had dropped in the text, dropped in the artwork within the text box. So our artwork, our coffee beans.jpg artwork is right next to the K in coffee, right? So if we look at that, we did a cut and a paste in the actual text box. Okay, so now we're going to wrap the text around it. So if you look on my little image, it's wrapping, okay? So we're going to go to the wrap panel. Okay, so if we go pull down to window, wrap, okay, I have it checked off already. So it must be on the side of mine. Do I see wrap? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to pull it out. Here's my wrap panel. Okay, so if I click on my image, make sure I'm in my pointer tool. I'll click on my actual image and it'll allow me to wrap my image if you click on the different scenarios. Okay. Now if I want to, so we can click the one in the middle and then I want to adjust, it's very close to the text on the right. So if I uncheck or unlock, and then I can adjust my placement of my text. So it looks like the down here is affecting the right offset. So if I click my arrows up, it's moving, it's making some more space to the right, which is what I would like. And then at the bottom, so the bottom offset, I'd like less. Whoops. It's not allowing me to do that. Okay. So it looks like it's just allowing me to create some space to the right, which is what my goal was. Let's see, how did I do this before? Okay, I had it a little deeper. Okay, so if I make this image a little larger, which I could always do, it's going to go across 4 lines. If I made it, if I adjust it a little bit, so then it'll fit it nicer. So you can always adjust it by clicking on it also. Again, resizing it using those little squares on the edges. And again, now it's part of your text. So if I take my text box and I move it around, my image is part of my text box. Okay, so it can't move apart. So this is really a good thing to do if you want to keep the artwork in the same place within your text. Okay. So I want you to just take a look at the Assets panel. So if I go pull down to Window, Assets. So the Assets panel is all your artwork that you've dropped in. So you'll notice on the Assets panel, it shows you at which page you have dropped in certain images. I can also click on the images and it'll show me where I can actually find the image. So it gives me the breakdown of where I can physically find that image. So if I click on different images, it'll tell me where I can find them. And again, find them to the right on which page they're dropped in of my Muse file. So all your artwork should definitely be placed in one spot, and the folder should be called Assets. It's easier to link them up. I'm using a tutorial right now, actually a few different tutorials, so you're not finding that. I am providing the artwork, but ideally when you're creating your own website, you should have one Assets folder and make it as simple as possible. Okay. So if ever you had needed to find something, or if you see something like this, there's a little hazard sign. That means that there's something wrong with that link. And it might just mean that it's moved to a different folder and it needs you to relink it, the folder. So that we'll learn about it at a later date also. But the images that don't have anything next to them, they're fine. So relinking is just relocating it again. So If I right click on it and I click relink, I can just find the image again and it relinks it and it fixes it for me. So the reason why it's showing you that hazard sign is because it's not finding it in the place that it was originally placed. So it's not good to have more than one place for your images. So that's why I'm saying one assets folder would be ideal, and then you wouldn't see any hazard signs. Make sure at the end when you're completed with your website, you should be checking your assets folder, make sure all your links are okay. If your links are not okay, then it's going to give you a sign, and it's not going to your website's not going to work properly. So again, I can't stress that one assets folder with all artwork enough. Okay, so I'm going to actually we're going to actually relink a different artwork in a different way though. So I'm going to click on this artwork that we just dropped in, the coffee beans JPEG. I'm just going to show you how you can relink it, but we're actually going to relink it to another image. So if I right click on it like we just did, relink, we're going to actually change it to a different one. So you can relink changing an image, you can relink updating an image. In this case, you might find for time to time, if you have a website that changes monthly, and you want to make sure the image is positioned in the same place, but you want to change the artwork. So in this case, this would be what we're doing right now. So we're going to change it to Coffee Beans 2 JPEG, which looks a little different. But again, we want to keep it in the same spot. So I'm going to click on that Coffee Beans 2, hit open, and you're going to notice it just updates within the same picture box. Okay, I don't have to touch anything. It's just updated in my assets folder. There's no hazard symbol, and you're good to go. Okay, so that's how that would work. Okay, so there's also something called pinning content, something that you want to place in the same spot for a folder for a later tutorial. So we're going to go to our plan mode, and we're going to go to our home page. So there's some artwork that we want to, I'm going to close my assets folder and my wrap because we don't need that anymore. And when I go to my home page, I'm going to do file, place, and there's a cloud image. So if I do file, place, and there's a cloud ping image, and I'm going to hit open, and I'm going to click. So if I move it to the top, you can see it's like a light image of a cloud. I'm actually going to place it to the right so I can see like maybe two-thirds of it I can't see, and a third I can see to the right. Okay. This is for a later tutorial that's going to explain a little bit more, but I'm going to click on that image, and then I'm just going to click on the top where it says pin. I'm going to pin it to the top right. You see how if I click that top right, so this is just an image that I want to stay there. So again, if I click it, go next to the pin, it has all those little square markings. I want the top right that I want to click, and then I'm done. Then I can save my image, and now I've pinned my image. And that's what it should look like. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is, I believe this is the last thing we're going to do. Last thing we're going to do is inserting a flash file. Okay, so what we're going to do is the flash files that Muse will allow you to insert is a Swift file, .swf. You will hear me referring to it as a Swift file. And again, after we create this website starting in February, we're going to start to learn Flash, and you'll be creating your own Swift files. But in plan mode, we're going to double click on the master Flash page. So I'm going to go to my plan mode. I'm going to click down to my master pages, and I'm going to click on master Flash, double click on it. So right now, we have artwork sitting here, but I'm going to delete that artwork because I'm going to actually drop in the Flash Swift file. So I'm going to do File, Place. So again, File, Place, and I am going to drop in the logo.swf. That is my Swift file. I'm going to click Open and click. And it gives me an image that looks like this. You can only see, and Muse only allows you to see that it's a Swift file, so it gives you the Swift logo. Okay, you cannot see the animation in Muse. You can place it on the top, but that's all Muse is going to show you. Okay, but we know that that's the animation file. So when you want to see that your animation works, this is what you're going to do. So you're going to go under Preview. Whoops. I'm going to take my Muse file, click Preview, and there we go. We know that our animation is in there, and it's working. I can click Preview again and see it again. Actually, go to Plan, then go to Preview again, and there you go. So again, that is created in Flash and saved as a .swf file. And that's how we know. So again, in the master Flash file, it only looks like, all you see is a box with the SWF. All right, so save your work. Now you've gotten through part 4, part 4.1 and part 4.2, and we'll get ready to start part 5. Great job.